11 ways your life today is far more luxurious than kings from the Middle Ages. While the medieval period often conjures images of grand kings and queens reigning in their opulent castles, the reality of their lives was far from luxurious by today's standards. Let's explore how our everyday comforts eclipse the regal, yet harsh, existences of medieval royalty. Fact number 1. Modern medicine versus primitive practices. During the 14th century, the Black Death swept through Europe, claiming an estimated 25 million lives, approximately one-third of the continent's population at the time. Monarchs and medics alike were desperate for cures, leading to the adoption of bizarre and often hazardous treatments. For instance, King Charles II of England, who reigned from 1660 to 1685, was known for his use of king's drops. This concoction included powdered human skull and alcohol, reflecting the era's reliance on mystical rather than empirical remedies. In contrast, modern medicine, founded on rigorous scientific methodology and clinical trials, has drastically changed our approach to health. Diseases that once ravaged populations are now preventable or treatable with vaccines and effective medications, such as the eradication of smallpox and the near eradication of polio. Number 2. Choice in marriage. The marriage of Queen Isabella I of Castile and King Ferdinand II of Aragon in 1469 is a hallmark example of political alliances formed through matrimony in the Middle Ages. This union was instrumental in the consolidation of Spain, leading to the completion of the Reconquista against the Moors in 1492 and the subsequent sponsorship of Christopher Columbus' voyage, which opened up the Americas to European exploration. Their marriage, arranged for political gain rather than personal affection, starkly contrasts with contemporary Western norms where individuals often choose partners based on personal compatibility and love, reflecting broader societal shifts towards individual autonomy and emotional bonds in relationships. Number 3. The power of literacy. Literacy in the Middle Ages was predominantly confined to the clergy and the nobility. King Louis IX of France, also known as Saint Louis, who ruled from 1226 to 1270, exemplifies this limited literacy. Despite his significant political and religious influence, he heavily relied on clerical advisors for managing written documents and conducting governance that required reading and writing. This reliance often restricted leadership effectiveness and governance transparency. Today, global literacy rates have significantly increased, with UNESCO reporting an adult literacy rate of 86% globally. This surge in literacy has democratized access to information, enabling broader participation in economic, social, and political spheres and vastly enhancing communication across diverse populations. Number 4. Youthful autonomy. Margaret Beaufort's marriage to Edmund Tudor at the age of 12 epitomizes the perilous practices of arranging marriages for young royals to secure political alliances. She gave birth to the future King Henry VII at just 13, a dangerous and painful ordeal that almost resulted in her death and left her unable to have more children. The high risks associated with such early pregnancies were commonplace, with little regard for the physical and emotional readiness of the young brides. In stark contrast, modern societies generally recognize the rights of children and adolescents, promoting their health, education, and personal development prior to entering into marriage. Legal frameworks now often set the minimum age for marriage with the aim of protecting youth from the potential harms of early marriage, reflecting a significant shift towards safeguarding child welfare and autonomy. Number 5. Safer childbirth. During the medieval period, childbirth was fraught with peril due to the lack of medical knowledge and sterile practices. Queen Anne of Brittany, who was twice queen consort of France through her marriages first to Charles VIII and then to Louis XII, had a particularly tragic experience with childbirth. Out of her 14 pregnancies, only 2 children survived to adulthood. She died at the age of 36 from complications during her last childbirth in 1514. This high mortality rate was typical of the time due to complications like infections and the absence of effective medical interventions. Today, advancements such as prenatal care, sterile techniques, and emergency interventions like cesareans have drastically reduced maternal and infant mortality. According to the World Health Organization, global maternal mortality rates decreased by about 38% between 2000 and 2017, reflecting significant improvements in medical practices and maternal health awareness. Number 6. Sanitation revolution. Medieval sanitation was rudimentary, often consisting of little more than latrines that discharged directly into the surrounding environment or moats. Castles like England's Bodiam Castle used garderobes that discharged waste outside the castle walls directly into the moat, contributing to the spread of diseases. By contrast, the Palace of Versailles, despite its splendor, suffered from inadequate sanitation up until the late 17th century, which resulted in offensive odors and unsanitary conditions throughout the palace. The development of modern plumbing systems in the 19th and early 20th centuries marked a significant public health advancement. Innovations like the flush toilet, introduced by Thomas Crapper, and regulated sewage treatment facilities have transformed living conditions, ensuring cleaner living environments and significantly reducing disease transmission. Number 7. Comfortable living spaces. Medieval castles, often idealized in popular imagination, were primarily designed for defense and were far from comfortable. Windsor Castle, constructed in the 11th century, featured thick stone walls that provided security but made interiors cold and damp. The lack of insulation, central heating, or efficient lighting meant that these spaces were often inhospitable. In stark contrast, modern homes are built with comfort in mind, featuring central heating systems, double-glazed windows to retain heat, and advanced insulation materials that maintain a consistent indoor environment. These advancements ensure that modern living spaces are not only more comfortable but also more energy efficient. Number 8. Work-life balance. The concept of work-life balance was non-existent for medieval royalty, who were perpetually entangled in the demands of governance, warfare, and diplomacy. King Henry VIII of England, who reigned from 1509 to 1547, is a case in point. His tenure was dominated by political maneuvering, 6 marriages, and the significant religious transformation of the English Reformation, which allowed little separation between personal life and royal duties. Today, the emphasis on work-life balance is seen in laws and corporate policies that regulate working hours, mandate breaks, and encourage vacations. For instance, the European Union's Working Time Directive ensures that workers cannot exceed 48 hours per week on average, promoting better health and greater personal time, a luxury unimaginable to monarchs of the past. Number 9. Culinary diversity. In medieval times, diets were highly dependent on local produce and seasonal availability, leading to limited culinary options. During the Siege of Jerusalem in 1099, for instance, the dire circumstances forced crusaders to consume whatever they could find, including boiled leaves and even leather, indicative of extreme survival scenarios. Contrast this with the modern world, where globalization and advancements in transportation and preservation technologies allow for a vast array of foods from across the globe to be available year-round. Supermarkets stock fruits, vegetables, meats, and grains from every continent, and international cuisines are celebrated and integrated into daily meals, enriching our diets and ensuring nutritional balance that medieval populations could scarcely imagine. Number 10. Personal safety and security. For medieval royalty, personal security was a constant challenge. King Edward II of England, for example, faced numerous threats during his reign, culminating in his deposition and mysterious death in 1327, likely a victim of political intrigue and assassination. The frequent coups and assassinations reflected the precarious nature of royal security. Modern society, however, benefits from comprehensive law enforcement and international legal frameworks that protect individuals. Advanced security systems, surveillance technology, and the rule of law create a safer, more predictable environment. These measures drastically reduce the risk of violent crimes and political instability, ensuring that personal safety and security are maintained at levels that medieval rulers could not have envisioned. Number 11. Energy accessibility. In the Middle Ages, the primary sources of energy were natural and limited to wood, charcoal, and animal dung. These sources were not only inefficient but also led to significant environmental issues like deforestation and indoor air pollution from smoke. Large fireplaces in castles, such as those in the Tower of London, provided heat but were inefficient in warming the massive stone structures, leaving most areas cold and damp throughout the year. In contrast, the 19th and 20th centuries introduced transformative energy sources such as electricity and natural gas, which now power homes, industries, and transport systems efficiently and cleanly. Renewable energy technologies, such as solar and wind power, further ensure a sustainable and stable energy supply, drastically improving living conditions and environmental health.